Bienvenue dans le podcast Gaming is in session. Aujourd'hui, nous jouons à Pokémon Crystal. You are not listening to the wrong podcast. The reason we're introducing this podcast in French is because Adam, our wonderful friend, sent me a version of the game that we're playing today, and he sent me the French version. And for those that don't know, this game is Pokemon Crystal, and there's a lot of reading in this game, and I don't speak French. So bonjour, and welcome to Gaming is in Session, where we're going to play video games, 20% of a game, to decide if we're going to keep playing it, and give you our thoughts on it. Adam, how you doing today? Do you know French? Is that why you sent me the French version of Pokemon Crystal?
I did not send you the French version. AliExpress sent you the French version. Don't put this on me. That's not fair. That is bullcrap. I didn't do it.
You sent them the money. You selected the product.
I selected the English version. They effed up. I can't help it that they gave you the wrong version.
Did you get your $3 back?
Nah, it wasn't worth. As I mentioned, the juice wasn't worth the pull. Squeeze.
The juice wasn't worth the pull? What are you pulling to get juice, Adam?
I'm just like
what was it? What was it you told me? You said to me earlier, who was it? You had a quote. This is classic Adam. I'm gonna look it up while you're pouring your gamer juice, Adam.
I don't want to see them ghosts. Is that it?
No, it wasn't. It was yesterday. You said the great David Bowie said, but it wasn't David Bowie.
Yeah, live like no one's watching.
Live like no one's watching. That's not how the quote goes.
What?
That's not who said it. Oh, you said the great Bob Dylan said.
Are you okay? Okay.
You said the great Bob Dylan said, "Live like no one's watching." Adam, I don't know who originally said it. It wasn't Bob Dylan, but the quote is, "Dance like nobody's watching."
Listen, I'm convinced you don't know these. For my gamer juice, Alex, I am making for the very first time a hot toddy. And I'm going to have to steep, but let me tell you what I'm doing here. And I want your input because, I'm not a huge alcohol guy, right? So I'm like, you're supposed to put alcohol in it. Maybe I'll put half in. So first you start out with some boiling water. And, we're going through a winter storm in the Midwest here. And so it's time to cool down, calm down. Let's snuggle up. Let's toddy up and make something warm and fuzzy. It feels good. So first of all, you have to have green tea. There's a little bit of lemon in here. There's, I forgot all the ingredients in there, but you could put it in a little tea bag. I'm gonna put a tablespoon, although I've got 2 cups. So normally you do a cup of water. So I'm gonna do 2 tablespoons of this concoction. And then you have plop that in. I got to let this steep for 5 minutes. Then I'm going to add some honey. Then I'm going to add some Jim Beam. And then I'm going to add a nice fresh cinnamon stick. And then I'm going to start sucking on a hot toddy, baby. But because that has to settle for 5 minutes, tell me where you drinking.
Well, I just know, Adam, it's really tough for you because that drink's going to take you a while. If there's anything we know about you, it's you famously say,
I'm a chugger.
And then you're putting all that stuff in there, and really, it's like a ball of material, and really what happens is
the ball gets in the hole, I'm unable to get that liquid, and so I can't chug it.
Yeah, and then eventually, you're trying to drink it, you get the ball, and you just start going.
That's good that
that sounds great regardless, Adam.
That's actually...
I do that.
Okay, what are you drinking, you freaking turd? I want to talk about some Pokemon.
This is dealer's choice, Adam. Whatever you don't pick today, it's going to be my gamer juice next time. My wife went to the store and got me the gamer juices. Horrible decision on my part to let her pick because it is Kim Jong-un's Taste the Apocalypse Doomsday Lemonade. Or
that's going to be good. It's just going to be lemonade, okay.
Or Lester's Fixin' artificially flavored bacon soda with chocolate. Chocolate bacon soda.
I don't know. And for those listening, I chose Pokemon Crystal to play. I've already played this game. So the rules are Alex has sole decision rights to whether we continue playing or not. My guess is that you are not going to want to continue to play this, meaning that the next game we play will be yours. And So far, you've picked sucky games. I want you to suffer baking soda for next time. Drink the lemonade. I'm going to sweeten you up right now, right
Sweeten it.
here.
Well, I mean, like we saw in the last episode. Okay, this is embarrassing. I have no way of opening this thing.
You
Who
have
doesn't
to
make a
be
twist
kidding me.
top in 2025?
Are you
That's right,
sure?
baby.
Are you just weak?
2025. Maybe I'm
Uh,
weak.
You're going to
Is there
end
a
up
clever
having to
way?
drink the bacon because you can't open the lemon, and
The
that's not
bacon doesn't have a
me.
twist top either, man. It's. I'm gonna use nail. Can you use nail clippers to open a?
Dude,
Oh, you can. You can. It's working
I
great.
I think you could twist it, but you're too weak.
Hold on. This is man of the year ingenuity here. Nail
Not man of,
clippers opening.
it's not nail of the year. It's desperation.
Look at that.
It's
Look at
just
that. 10
disgusting that you
points.
have clippers on your desk, but okay.
I sit here a lot, but okay. First of all, you know what? That calls definitely for it
Wait, what the?
because nobody imagined that you'd be able to open one of these. That Alex would be able to MacGyver himself into his Doomsday Lemonade, Kim Jong Un Lemonade, Taste the Apocalypse with nail clippers instead of a bottle opener.
It's just gonna taste like lemonade. I'm sure it's gonna be good.
It doesn't even taste like lemonade.
Oh.
It tastes like sugar water, carbonated sugar water, with just like a bunch of sour stuff in the end. It doesn't even taste like.
Oh, not good?
It's not great. It's not great at all. Which it shouldn't be, right? Kim Jong Un's not great. We're not celebrating him here.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Screw you, Kim Jong Un. Okay,
If there's anything I can say about our podcast, Adam, I think we will unequivocally take a stance. We are anti Kim Jong Un on this podcast. Would you agree?
yeah, and lemonade. Screw them both.
Screw it. How many times have you had lemonade as your gamer juice? I think it's at least 3.
Oh, that's not true at all. I've definitely had it once, maybe twice because I spiced it up. 3 times is absurd. Get out of here.
Twice totally normal. 3 times absurd.
Listen, fan shout outs. Let's go. Our man Corporate Zombie hitting us up again. Haha, give me more guys to fight. Be careful what you wish for, Adam. This isn't in terms of Behemoth, that episode. There is like 3 to 4 hours of fighting multiple people before the second Behemoth. And oh no, it would be a tragedy to miss the second Behemoth fight, though. Never lived that experience. Oh my God, the first Behemoth was basically a tutorial. The second Behemoth is an incredible experience. I like the fighting. I got to the point where you said it's 3 or 4 hours of fighting multiple people. I want more. That's the best part of the game. I quit right before the second Behemoth because I was like, I need to get my head right. And I'm just not motivated to really go back, to be honest. I will. I definitely am going to play it, but I haven't yet because I've been playing Pokemon. But thank you for the thoughts. Glad you like it. You motivate me to push forward.
Corporate Zombie, you make Adam a better person. Adam, I do wonder if at some point you and I both beat Behemoth in the near future, should we just do a follow-up episode?
No.
No, so people don't know what we think. I guess we could talk at the top of an episode
That
about
could
our
be
thoughts.
play PSVR to
Okay.
the podcast. Yes.
The podcast. That's a different podcast. You're right.
Yeah.
Next fan shout out, Void Citizen. For those who don't know, Void Citizen's the one guy that is mad at us for the Quest remakes. The Quest ports on PSVR 2, which I think is hilarious because his comment is, y'all play Alien or Starship Troopers yet? Both are great. Now, Alien, I think probably is going to be great. And I want Adam to play it, and Adam doesn't want to. Starship Troopers looks like a crappy Quest port. Void Citizen, what do you want? Do you want us to cover Quest ports? Do you want us to not cover Quest ports? What's the deal with this? Either way, I love you, and I'm glad
He
you left
may
a
only
comment.
listen to the podcast or the PSVR podcast. He may not listen to this one. I don't know, but I hope he answers regardless. Grant shirts.
Grant Shirts, that's his account name. I do want to say before you read this off, if you're making shirts, can we get some?
Yeah, we will definitely promote your shirts. It could be Gran t-shirts. We don't know.
Like grandma t-shirts?
Exactly. Congrats, dudes. This was in terms of our 500 sub celebration. Congrats, dudes. May your beans Always be pleasant. It is very fortuitous you said that because we have a bean bet today and someone will be eating beans, and I guarantee you they will not be pleasant. But thank you for your kind regards.
It's like a 25-75 mix of good versus bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
but we
yeah.
appreciate you wishing our beans be pleasant. Yeah, finally, after about a decade of doing this, we got 500 subs. After a decade and maybe 10 channels, we got 500 subs on a singular channel.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're not going
baby.
anywhere now. We can't leave that in the dust. Next comment, Shepherd of Man. Adam, what I want you to do here is guess which video this was commented on. Shepherd of Man says, sometimes it makes sense why some channels don't take off in popularity.
It was the ball sucking video, wasn't it?
It's a ball sucking video. The move controller, ball sucking video. That's exactly right. Still getting comments, still getting traction. The fact that he left a comment indicates that video is what's making our channel take off in popularity.
It really is, and I think he's jealous because we thought about it first, and now he's sucking his move controller balls and not really getting any recognition for it. Sorry, dude.
I bet
Yep.
I bet we go to his channel and it's just like 10, 20, 30, 100 YouTube shorts of him sucking on move controller balls. Just
Yep.
trying to get to 500 subs. Just
And I
trying.
and all of them have like 10 views, and then
10
mine
views.
has like 15,000 because
It's
here's the thing,
28,000.
Alex, how this said, do I follow the hot toddy recipe or do I cut it in half because I know I don't like bourbon or
Follow the
whiskey
hot
or
toddy recipe. You do not play with recipes, my man.
dude, it's like half whiskey then. How about
Well,
I try it half and then if it's like okay, it's not actually that strong, then I'll
does
add that.
the does the hot toddy recipe call for one entire bottle like you just did?
Yeah, actually more. That it asks for 2 ounces. What I just put in, which is 59 milliliters, I just put in 50 milliliters. So I'm
Okay.
even shorting it. That
Okay, that's not as bad, but I for what I'm a person who says like do what the recipe says. Don't think you're smarter than the recipe.
well, I do when I don't like what's in the recipe, right? Like if you don't like curry chicken and you make curry chicken, you can't complain that oh, the curry chicken recipe sucks. It's no, you should have made curry chicken.
Well,
So
the thing is, Adam, no matter how you make it, what's going to happen is,
I'm a chugger.
and it's not going to last very long.
See, oh, it's too much whiskey. It just tastes, and I put in half. These people are freaking alcoholics.
Do
That's
you
just
have a
how it
mug
is.
that just says Adam on it?
It's horrible.
Uh,
It- no, it's Play PS5, the podcast.
oh my good. Did I get one of those and just ignore it?
Uh, I don't think. No, I don't
Okay,
think.
I want one. I need to get one. I'm
I
back to
gave
drinking.
you a shirt, and then I've never seen you wear it.
Adam, I'll be honest. The reason I don't wear the shirt is because it's too small for me, and you can see my nipples when I wear it.
What
I'm
the heck,
losing
dude?
weight.
You've lost weight. Wear it.
No, it was too small for me when I got it, and I gained like 20 pounds in the interim. I maybe just back down to where I could wear the shirt without embarrassment. I'll work on it. Adam, I'm working
Okay.
on it for you.
Dude, this seriously, it's like the hot toddy part of it, I feel like could be good, but the alcohol, it's just alcohol. It's warm whiskey. That's all this is. Freaking could be worse. If I would have put this in it, that would have been, I didn't put my cinnamon stick. Maybe
And that's what's missing. And you didn't
that's
follow the
what's
recipe.
missing. Pokemon Crystal. I have been waiting for this day, Alex. So, admittedly, I grew up with Pokemon. I know you've never played it. Obviously, you know the concept, but I've always wanted you to try it, mainly because there's a big nostalgia hit for me. Obviously, I know that I'm biased. I grew up with it. It was my life. I have the trading cards. I played the games. I watched the movies as a kid. I did all that crap. So, sometimes you like kid games. Pokemon is a kid game. It is not an adult game whatsoever. And I'm really curious as we go through and we talk about this. Personally, I think Crystal is the best game. It's not too advanced to where it starts feeling like one of those modern games that don't have any of the old school charm, but it's not so old school where it's just blinded and full of glitches and the artwork's ugly and stuff like that. I think, the perfect mix, especially for a first time player. So I'm curious as we discuss the reason I like it. Is it my nostalgia or is it actually like a good game? We're going to find out.
That's kind of the point of this episode. But Adam, I just want to kind of get a bit of history here. Um, so Pokemon first came out as Pokemon Red and Blue, am I right?
In America, yes.
And that was on the standard Game Boy, not even Game Boy Color at the time. It was just Game Boy, right?
A Game Boy Color.
So they came out color already, like full color.
I mean, it was like red and blue only, like the colors, but
So they didn't have okay. So
because the
that's
original
base.
Game Boy is only green,
Right,
right?
right. So the
Yeah,
original game, like it played on like a Game Boy Pocket. It wasn't because Game Boy Color has like a full color palette available to it. Anyways, then after that they made Pokemon Yellow, if I remember correctly, right? Which is like the same as those two games, but it contains
it's a
Pikachu.
little beefed up. You have the Pikachu, and it's a little cutified. The sprites are different. They added movement. There are some differences, but it's a beefed up version of blue and red. Correct.
Okay, and my understanding is you say here that Pokemon Crystal is an upgraded version of Pokemon Gold and Silver, which is like the next set. Pokemon Yellow was kind of like Pokemon 1.5, right? And Pokemon Gold and Silver is kind of like Pokemon 2, right? It's new map, new characters, new sets of new generation of Pokemons, right?
Correct.
And then Crystal is what compared to those? But would you call Crystal 2.5?
Yes, it's another beefed up version. It has, but the thing that it does is, I don't really think it's a spoiler. I'm just going to tell you. So originally, you play it's a new land. So originally, you're in Kanto. Now you're in Johto. So you get the 8 badges and you do the Elite Four, and you're like, okay, I won. I beat the game. Then Crystal opens up, and effing boom, you can go back to Kanto and beat those 8 bosses, and there's extra stuff to do in there. So it's really like 2 games, and then it does some extra stuff that's just like super neat and original that Gold and Silver didn't do. The sprites are better. They add movement. There's more color. It, I think, is the definitive best Gen 2 version of the game.
So you're telling me that Pokemon Crystal contains the entirety of the first two Pokemons in it?
It's not quite. It's the same concept as the first round of Pokemon. Like you'll fight the same gyms, you'll see the same people, but it's like a lesser version of it. But you still get the kick of like, oh, I'm fighting Brock and Misty again. And at the very end, you fight Professor Oak, who is he's like effing stacked. He's got all three, or is it Professor Oak, or is it the first rival in the first game? One of them has all of the starter Pokemon and like an effing beefed up Pikachu that's incredibly difficult. It's the hardest fight in the game. But I mean, like, there's so much packed into it. It's incredible. It's really good. Um, if you were to
So
complete the game, I wouldn't make you beat that part because that's not the game. That's
yeah,
optional stuff. But yeah.
this is a cool nugget of information that I've known about. I don't play Pokemon, but I've known about this. Do you know who Satoru Iwata is?
Heard of him? I don't know him really.
He was a former president of Nintendo. He died tragically, maybe about 10 years ago, of bile duct cancer rather quickly. Um, but he apparently is a legend in the Pokemon community because when they were releasing Pokemon Gold and Silver, he spent like he's not even like on the development team. He developed the compression tools that allowed them to also include the entire Kanto region along with the Johto region. So
No way.
this is like a dude not even part of like Game Freak who makes Pokemon. He was just like, you know what would be badass if you could have the entire first game in the second game.
And
And
he's right.
yeah, yeah. So I
So
just wanted to
you
shout
knew
that out
about
because
that even before I like told you that there was the second half of the game?
well, when you told me that Gold and Silver, you told me about the second half. I was like, wait, that's what they were talking about. Because I read this when he died. I read that he was like this legend who did that. That's pretty impressive. So it's that this is Game Boy, right? There's not much space on those cartridges to put
Yeah.
stuff. That's baller.
And to
Really
my
cool stuff.
knowledge, admittedly, I haven't played. Actually, that's not true. I haven't played all of the modern games, but no other game allows you to go back and play a previous version. Now, I remember. Might be wrong on that, but this is like the one that's like, whoa. And then
Well, even like
they remade Crystal to it's like a second version of Gold and Silver. What do they call it? Like Heart Gold and Soul Silver, but
like
it's
Black
like a
Diamond or something like that. Yeah.
yeah. Either way. So, all right. So that's a little background on Pokemon Crystal. The first thing I just want to hop into some of the things why I love Pokemon, things why it's held dear in my heart, and walk through some of the decisions to hear how you experience the game. So, very first thing, what did you name your character?
Dicktown.
Yes. Okay. So my favorite thing is to name it douche, dickhead,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
butthole, something. And then obviously, I mean, you could do this for all other games, but then the first thing they're like, I actually write it down somewhere? But they'll come up, they're like, hey, douche. I've got a
Yeah.
Pokemon for you. And it's funny. Obviously, it's very childish, but I'm glad you kind of leaned into that. It just little things, especially this game you didn't, I don't believe, or at least I haven't yet. But you can also, most of the games name your rival. And so you
Oh
can
yeah,
name,
you name your rival because I was really confused when I first saw my rival. It was like you're about to fight question mark question mark question mark, and then it said oh you defeated question mark question mark question mark, and I thought that it was just because of the French version or the weirdness of playing the game.
sure.
I thought that it was a glitch or something like that, and I was like okay well that's weird. And then it was like what was his name again? And then I got to name him. I forget what I named him. Oh, I named him. Maybe I shouldn't say what his name is. I named him something not great.
Nice. Now you
Yeah.
get demonetized.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so you leaned into it. I love that. So that's the first to experience Pokemon. That's perfect. Well done. I'm very glad to hear that. Number two, what Pokemon did you pick first? So you have, well, I'm not gonna name them all. That may come into handy later. But what Pokemon did you choose?
So you warned me that if you pick inappropriately, it can make the game harder out of the get-go, and I don't necessarily want to make it harder.
Yeah.
Although it's obvious to me there's like a fire Pokemon, there was like a waterish Pokemon, and there was a like leaf Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I was looking at them, I was basing my judgment just on how cool they looked, and I liked the alligator guy the most. He was the second one I saw, and then I went to the third one to pick my third one, and it was the fire Pokemon. I don't know their names because I changed their names. Um, and then
Oh.
I meant to hit B to be like, all right, let me go back and pick the one I want, but I accidentally hit A and I confirmed that I wanted that Pokemon, and I was stuck with the fire Pokemon. I named it because it looked like burning, it looked like pubic hair coming out of the back of the Pokemon, so I named it Bushfire.
Dude,
So
it's a porcupine, dog.
okay, well, whatever. I named it Bushfire, so that's all I know its name as is
That's
Bushfire.
clever. That's clever. Okay. I keep my Pokemons in the right name. I don't know. I've always done that. Yeah, I don't know. So, did you've gone through some of the game, and I think you've been through enough to where hopefully you realized why Cyndaquil makes the game easier.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
like the first gym you go to is a leaf gym or something like that, and if you like leaf is weak to fire, right? And
yep.
so that makes sense. Although it's a fire Pokemon, you don't have any fire powers from the get go. All you have is tackle.
Well, yeah, but the all of them only have tackle or scratch. But it's the
Okay,
first move you learn, Ember. So I mean,
yeah, but I never need to use it because by the time I got to where I needed to use Ember, I could just tackle everything to death.
how about for all the Bellsprout and like you said, the boss?
So the Bellsprouts do nothing to you. They don't hurt you at all. Like that was surprising to me. I know we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves. Is maybe it's the way I encountered it. Right. When I played, I just went to the first gym. Like I didn't know what I was doing. Right. They tell you to go see Mr.
Yeah.
Pokemon. I go see Mr. Pokemon, and then I go. He gives me an egg. I go back to see Professor Elm, and he's like, "Well, carry the egg around for a while." And then I was like, "Okay, I know I'm supposed to go to the gym." I go to the first gym, and they're like, "You better watch out. Faulkner is like super strong." I was like, "Oh, well, damn it!" And so I went out and I like went around in the surrounding area and just like fought Pokemon until it kind of became easy. And then I went into the gym and it was like super easy. Like I just tackled them all to death with my bushfire, and and that was that. And then I went, well, and here's my mistake. After that, I was like, all right, nowhere else to go. Let's go south. And I went to like the Alf dungeon,
Yeah.
ran into some Unowns,
Unknown, but okay.
a noun or something like they don't spell it right.
It's unknown.
Okay, I know
That's
what
how
they're
you say
going.
it.
I know what they're going for. They say it. They spell it wrong. And then I caught one of them, and then I left that dungeon because it was confusing for me. And then I went to like another city, and I was getting my ass handed to me. And so I thought this is an RPG. I got to go back, and I went back, and I was like, oh crap! There's the Sprout Tower, which somebody warns you don't go in the Sprout Tower because there's ghosts, and normal Pokemon can't do anything to ghosts. And I don't have Pokemon that could do anything other than normal stuff. But I forgot that they told me that, and I went into the Sprout Tower, and it was nothing but Bellsprouts, and they ate shit like crazy. I was killing. I was so amazed. They kept throwing Bellsprouts at me, and I kept tackling their asses down to the ground, chewing them up, spitting them out. Bellsprouts were nothing to me. They were fodder for my cannon, and they all died. And then I had nothing else left to do, and I was ready to start exploring some more. So I don't. I will say I learned about Bellsprouts, the danger of them later. We'll get into it a little bit later. But when I first encountered them, it was a nothing burger. They couldn't
Once they start throwing sleep powders and paralyzed powders or whatever they call it, they can get nasty, which is why one hitting them with Ember. And anyhow, so the crocodile, Totodile, is weak to grass. So
Okay.
that's why Bellsprout would have tore you up.
Well, I wouldn't have
And
even gone to Bellsprout. I didn't go to Bellsprout. Like, what does Faulkner use?
flying, which it would have been okay.
Yeah, see, I
But
didn't even go. I didn't even go to Sprout. What do you get? There's no reason to go to Sprout Tower, right? Like,
you want to evolve them and get them to higher levels so you're stronger, and especially like you once you catch Pokemon, to either you go in the wild and you have to fight with them, which takes forever, or you go to trainers, get more experience, so it's a faster way to grow them up so you have stronger Pokemon.
so okay, wait. Well, the way I was leveling up most of my stuff was walking around in the grass waiting for random encounters. Because if you beat a trainer, right, you can't fight him again.
True, but you get way more experience points.
Is it more experience points, or is it just that you get to fight three Pokemon in a row in one fight?
More experience points.
Okay. I mean, I did level things up and stuff, but I
I mean, the way
appreciate
you did
you.
it is fine. Like
Yeah,
it
yeah.
works, right? But it took you a lot longer than if you had just focused on, like, I rarely, in the very beginning of the game, yeah, I think I may spend 30 minutes fighting wild Pokemon, but then I never fight another one again the rest of the game because you focus solely on trainers. And by the
Okay.
time you're done, you hit the Elite Four and you're in the 50s. And then you may need to grind a little bit depending on your strategy. But so
So what
your way's
sucks?
fine.
What
That's like
sucks?
this is why, it's kind of fun hearing you how you play. You don't know that. I played these so often, I know that. But as a first time player, they probably didn't tell you that. So there's no way for you really to know.
Well, I mean, I maybe could have picked up on it, but what sucks about the trainers is you can't. Lord knows I tried. You can't catch the trainer's Pokemon with a Pokeball. I
That's hilarious that you
tried
tried.
stealing
Yeah.
tried stealing that from him. Oh, you got the alligator guy. I wanted the alligator guy. Give him to me, and then you can't. It says you can't do that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but no. So that was my experience with getting my butt handed to me in the second area. I forget what it's called, like Azalea or something like that. On the way to Azalea, I was getting my butt handed to me. That cave that you got to go through. But then there's like stuff you see, like there's a dark cave, and you got to have like something to light the cave up. I didn't have that
Yep.
for a while. I went on the hunt for that. Um,
Also,
really,
some of this does rely on you talking to people and reading, especially the first time you play it. So the HM for Flash, did
oh
you
no, I
know
got that
that
eventually. Yeah,
did you know that you can't erase that move?
no.
Yeah.
Well, but so Okay, I didn't know that.
Technically, there is a way. There's like an NPC in the game that he can delete any move, but you have to search him out. It's not like
That's
you can,
so
oh,
funny.
yeah,
I
it's,
mean, I gave it to my I gave it to my hip
yeah.
hop hip, and she flashed. I assume it's a she. She flashed the cave for me, and then I fought a bunch of Geodudes, which
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's keep going. If there's more stuff you want to talk about, yeah, let's keep going. We'll talk about Geodude in a little bit.
Geodude. Okay, so what was the very first Pokemon that you saw and it was like, oh, I want that?
Um, oh, it's hard to remember.
Or
I mean, there were
were there any? Like for
no.
me,
There was one that I saw. I was like, okay, I need to make sure I have a Pokeball and get that. Oh, it was the snake. I forget his name.
Ekans?
Yes, Ekans, Ekans. I don't
Yeah.
know his name because I changed his name to Long. So that's what I know him as, and that sucks because he's not very good. He's pretty bad.
Yeah. Yeah. No, but that's the beauty. Like the first time you're playing the games, like it's frustrating now, but it's almost the excitement of it. Like you don't know which one will be good, right?
Yeah, well, what sucks is when you have one like Hoppip. I was basically just trying because you got to catch them all, right? I was just if there's one I haven't seen and I don't hate it, like I hate Pidgey. I hate Pidgey. I my goal is to kill all Pidgeys in the game, which I don't think is possible. I hate Pidgey. I hate Pidgeotto. I hate anything related to Pidgey. Um, so I'm never gonna catch that. Pidgey can burn in hell. But
Why do you hate it so much?
it looks stupid. The attacks are dumb.
It looks like a bird.
Yeah, it looks like a dumb, fat, stupid bird. I hate Pidgey. Um, and so I didn't care about that one. I wanted the snake, and I got the
Did you
snake.
know did you realize Ekans spelled backward as snake?
I didn't know that.
And then he evolves into Arbok, and if you spell that backwards, it spells
Cobra.
Cobra. Yeah.
I do like the
See,
wordplay in the names.
that it's good. And the newer Pokemon, that's why I don't like them because there's admittedly, if you have to come up with 500 creatures, at some point you're going to run out of material, right? But the first 150, almost all of them are gold.
Yeah.
And seeing a new one is like, there's a pun or wordplay. So you're like, how? And then it's like exciting to figure out, like, what am I going to see next? Is it a Lickitung? And guess what? It's got a big old tongue. It's a girl's best friend. It's awesome, right? Like, so anyhow, it's fun. So there you go. Hoppip, obviously, like hops, right?
It,
Totodile is a crocodile. Cyndaquil,
what's the deal with Hoppip? I don't get Hoppip. I was like, is this a play on hippo? It doesn't look like a hippo.
no,
What's
it hops.
it hops?
Like,
Here's a question. Here's a question for you. Hoppip, first time I encountered it. I don't know why I caught it. I think I was just trying to catch things. Um, Only move it has is splash. Does splash do anything? My only guess is like if I'm burning, I could use splash to like stop burning,
no,
maybe.
no, it's garbage.
It doesn't even do that.
No,
It literally does nothing. Splash does nothing at all.
correct.
Does it
But
count? If I use splash, because here's the thing that is nice in the game is that if you start with one Pokemon in a battle and you do something with that Pokemon, and then you switch to another Pokemon, right? You start with a weak one, attack or get hit, switch to another one. That first Pokemon still gets levels, right? So you can level up
yep,
your weaker Pokemon while using your main Pokemon. Does splash count as a leveling activity? Like if I splash and then change,
you don't even need to attack. You could, and I do all the time. You send them out, especially with trainers. This is how so you catch a Pokemon and they're probably low level. You throw them out and they're just out there, and then you immediately retreat them and send in your second one. No, of course, they're going to take an immediate hit, but then you
yeah.
kill them and they split the experience points 50-50.
Oh, so could I throw in like three or four before I even have to make a move?
Yeah.
Well, I need to be doing that every time. I thought you could
Although,
only do it
like,
once.
but then you're splitting it 3 and 4 times the experience points. So
Right, right, right.
and if you like, you throw a Pokemon, I threw mine out, and then say I took mine back to throw another one, you get a free shot. So your Pokemon are going to just take hits and,
Who takes the hit? The Pokemon that actually does the move in the end, or the Pokemon that's about to get pulled out?
the new one that you threw out.
Okay, so every time you throw one out, you get hit.
Yes.
Okay. So they'll still
Yeah.
get hit. Okay. All right.
So normally what I do is like, for example, my Pokemon have you gotten to the point where someone gave you an egg?
Yeah, and it hatched already.
Oh, nice. So I used him. He's incredibly weak. So what I
Yeah.
did is at that point, my Cyndaquil was really strong. So I threw out Togepi for every battle. I threw him out, immediately retracted him, threw out Cyndaquil, and he took a hit right off the bat, but he was strong enough that I'm like, who cares? They're not going to kill him. And then I finished the battle, and then Togepi got the experience. And then eventually he got to the point where he doesn't suck balls anymore. So
So this is the other nice thing. So we'll talk about the battle system a bit. It's turn-based RPG, right? Your Pokemon has moves. Usually it's basic like Scratch or Tackle, which is just like a melee hit, right? You get other moves that's like can weaken the opponent, like lower their defense or lower their attack, or moves to upgrade your defense. What I like to do is have the Pokemon at the top of your list. You have a list of like 6 Pokemon you could choose to be running with at a given time. The Pokemon at the top of your list, when you go into a battle, that's the one that starts things off. Like that is their first, and you can swap it out, but that's their first. I like having Togepi at the top because he has Growl, which decreases their attack, but he has Charm, which if it lands, steeply decreases their attack. So what you do is you start off with Togepi. Yeah, he's gonna take a hit, whatever. Do the Charm, their attack goes way down. Then they might hit you. Then you pull Togepi out. You pull the next dude in, and you do damage. And then Togepi still gets to level up too. So I mean, I think that's a cool part of the strategy of the game that's not necessarily present in other like turn-based RPGs. And I
the
do
way
like the
you
whole like.
play is so different than mine.
Are you just trying to minimize damage or something?
I the fact that you used either growl or charm once, I mean, you don't know what they do. But after you realize what they do, it blows my mind that you
It
use it.
lowers their attack, right? Does not lower the amount of damage they deal.
I mean, it does, but like
So
just
why
kill
wouldn't
them.
I do that as my first move? Because it's going to happen before their attack. Why don't I do that for my first move
Well, it
regardless?
doesn't necessarily. If your speed is faster, you'll go first.
But
We're running out of
like
time. Alex, we said, oh, this will be a 2-segger. There's no way. We barely talked about this, and we're already 1 segment in. Um, we'll keep talking. Yeah, because it's enjoyable for me though to figure out how you're playing, and I can, at least the way I play, I can correct you, get you on the straight and narrow, learn you up a little bit. You'll be a Pokemon master, and so will you if you continue to listen to Gaming is in Session. We got segment 2 coming back with more Pokemon Crystal. It is segment 2 of Gaming is in Session, where we are talking Pokemon Crystal. But before we do, Alex and I were talking about how my hot toddy was garbage and how alcohol's bad. And little did you know, Alex, did you realize that you're at AA?
I'm at AA. What's the joke? What's the punchline, Adam?
There's no punchline. The punchline is AA stands for Adam's Anecdotes.
Oh, I thought it was
Here's
gonna be
the-
Adam and Alex.
No, you wish. You wish you were part of my life. Instead, it's Adam's Anecdotes. Here's the thing, Alex. Last year, you know I found a gym girl, right? I found myself a gym girl, and although I didn't necessarily say these words. Essentially, I went up to her and I was like, you know, you want me. Her response, I want you to leave. I'm in high school. Listen, Alex, there is a ton of new talent. 2025 has to be, it's time for Gym Girl number 2. I went to the YMCA. It's January, Alex. These people in droves are going to the gym. They're hoping to better their pitiful lives. Are they gonna do it? No. But that doesn't matter because there's a ton of local talent, Alex. I am gonna search. I am going to destroy. I, first of all, am gonna verify ages. And I have found and befriended a female gym goer. She's already married, nothing's going on there, but she is gonna help me find the right appropriately aged woman to mark, to have in my sights, and to pursue. That's it. I want this to be a joint effort. Listeners, give me your best pickup lines. Give me your best cute meets. Give me your best ideas because 2025 is going to be the year of the gym girl. Thanks for joining AA, Alex. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's talk some Pokemon Crystal.
I got a pickup line for you, Adam. What you do is you got to find the girl that's appropriately aged. You got to walk up to her and you got to tell her,
My butthole's hot.
I love how your second gym girl ended up being married. That's so good. That is so good.
No, she was not second gym girl. She
Whatever.
was.
Let's
She
get
wa-
into Pokemon.
No.
Let's hope you can catch Pokemon better than you can catch gym girls.
That's bullcrap. I'm pumped. I am ready to go. All right. I'm happy. There's so many chicks in the gym. It's loaded. I mean,
But you're on a timetable. It's like after 2 months, it's going to be down. It's like a half-life, like a decay. After a week, half of them are going to disappear. After a week, half of them will disappear.
I gotta act fast. That's good though. That's right, because once you start overthinking it, you start, it's not good. You need to go by instinct. My instincts are spot on. I'm a freaking fox. If I just listen to my instincts and I don't overthink it, it's just like curl. Boom, adductors. Look at that. My legs are flopping in and out. I'm like a magic carp, and they're like,
you need to be walking around there with the electric ab shocker, shirtless with the ab shocker going,
and my gyro ball.
Yeah.
Yes, have a belly up with a gyro ball. Yes.
You're like, this doesn't hurt me at all. It hurts everybody else, but it doesn't hurt. How? It doesn't hurt me. Ow!
I'm getting a workout in before I go to my job at the Y where I clean the floors and I'm the janitor.
Because I'm the janitor. I forgot about that part.
Yeah, it's great. So that's it. 2025, Gym Girl, baby. Let's do it. Let's do it.
So does this mean officially at some episode this year we are going to get a Gym Girl update?
Yeah, it's time. I told you. There are so many chicks. I got to make it happen.
This is going to be the best year of the podcast, at least in terms of content entertainment that we're ever going to have. I'm so excited. This is the best Christmas gift you could have given me, Adam.
I know. I knew you were going to be excited. I got to do it for myself. I got to do it for the people. I don't know if the listeners care. It doesn't matter if they care. I'm trying to find love here, folks. I'm out and about strutting my stuff and looking for love. What could go wrong? A serious question, Alex.
I can't wait.
Could I do any worse than I did in 2024 when I pursued a high schooler? Seriously, could I do worse than that? Like, what would be worse than that?
Pursue a middle schooler?
Okay, within reason. Okay, let's say within reason. First of all, she should not be in high school. She may have failed a couple years. That is absurd that she was in high school. And
you realize you're reciting
the script.
You're reciting the script of every single person that gets busted on To Catch a Predator. Well, you're telling me she's in high school? Yeah, right. She didn't look like she's in high school in the pictures.
Get out of here. Okay, so realistically, I mean, I can go nowhere but up, right?
It sounds like you went sideways and went after a married chick, but it's
No, no,
okay.
I didn't go after her. That was just a friendly I'm not into her. Even if she were single, nah. This
I think what's happening. I'm all aboard, Adam. I'm down for gym girl updates. Just maybe figure out some way to verify age. I guess your friend can help you out there. The other thing is you have a whole other avenue you can go through. Use that contact at playpsvr .com email address and reach out to some more COOs of video game
Oh,
developers.
I thought you were gonna say go on Yahoo Classifieds. And I was like,
Well, I figured you were already on there.
oh, I'm not, but maybe that's it. Yeah. Throw a wide net. Yeah. But they
Yeah.
have to go to the gym, otherwise they're not a gym girl. So
Oh, okay.
that's the one thing.
Well, that's your opening line in the email. Listen, do you go to the gym? If not, I'm not interested.
And the good thing is these new girls, they're new prey, right? They're the low-hanging that sounds horrible. They're new, right? They're not seasoned like there's one chick at the gym, she has to be a gymnast or something like wild body. She's super focused on her workouts, but she like if I'm in, the minor leagues, she's in above the major league. She's in like the mankind on Mars league.
Here's
So
what you
like
need to do, Adam. You need to learn what you can from this podcast. What we're doing here. You need to get you a Pokemon ball, a Pokeball. What are the special ones called? The giant ball.
there's so many of them. Great ball, ultra ball,
A
master
great
ball.
ball. Let's start with a great ball because that's the only one I've seen. Make you a great ball. You see a girl, little plastic Pokemon ball. You write great ball and your little chicken scratch on it. You see a girl at the gym, you just hurl it at her because it's empty plastic. It lands,
Right
catch
in her
her.
face.
Right in her face, say, sorry, I gotta try to catch you if I can. And then bam. And then pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. She loves Pokemon because she grew up playing it too.
Or she's not a nerd and she's immediately turned off and she's like, you're an effing loser.
And you don't want anything to do with that anyway, so bullet dodged.
I guess that's true.
Sometimes you don't know if it's a Togepi or it's a Quinlava until you cast that ball and you find out if they get caught. All right? Am I right? Am I right?
Let your balls out.
I'm gonna tell you, sometimes you're looking at a girl thinking she's a Magikarp. You throw the ball at her, you catch it, you open it up. Turns out she's a Gyarados.
See, here's perfect segue, Alex, because one thing I did want to share, you were talking about the Hoppip on how it knows splash, and it's a useless attack. So
Mm-hmm.
what often happens, and you caught yourself a magic carp, right?
Mm-hmm.
You notice that it only knows splash as well?
So I know the secret of Magikarp can evolve into the Gyarados, and it's like one of the best Pokemon, right?
So that's a running theme. So I haven't used Hoppip turns into like Jumpluff, which is strong.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Wait. So let me ask this. Are there special situations that are required to encounter to get a Pokemon to evolve? Or if I just keep leveling up Pokemon, will they just evolve naturally?
most of them evolve once it gets to a certain level. There are some of them that have reasons. For example, Togepi will only evolve if your friendship level is high enough, but you get friendship points by leveling them up.
So that makes,
Um,
yeah, that sounds so dumb to make a requirement when it's like you get friendship levels by just using them, right?
Yeah, but there's also things in the game like I gave mine a haircut, and you could do this other stuff that raises their friendship points. There's a Pokemon called Eevee that has a bunch of different forms, and a couple of them, like if you you have to give it a stone. If you give it a fire stone, it turns into a Flareon. If
Okay.
you have a high friendship and
But
you evolve it to a certain level and it's night out, it turns into an Umbreon. Or,
they kind of tell you some of that stuff too, I think, because I got
I
an
mean,
Everstone, and they were like, an Everstone means they're not going to evolve if they're holding it, and that's
yeah.
cool. As long as they
So,
tell me that stuff. My concern is that like, because okay, after we did just keep things moving. After I did the Sprout Tower or whatever it was called, I was getting my ass handed to me. I went to the Dark Cave because I got Flash, and I was getting my ass handed to me by some Geodudes, and I thought, ooh, I want me some of that. And
yeah.
so I knocked down a Geodude to red, and then I caught him in a Pokeball. and so I started evolving a Geodude. Um,
Oh no.
but let me just say, Geodude is my favorite Pokemon. He is a floating rock with two big ass arms hanging out.
Yeah.
So one, he can fly, and two, he punches like a dump truck. I like Geodude. So I started evolving Geodude, and then I was thinking like, okay, um, I sure like level 10 he's going to evolve because that's when my Bushfire evolved. But he hasn't evolved yet. He's like level 17. He hasn't evolved yet. But
Yeah.
not all hope is lost because he is destroying the competition. I have not run into a situation because you get Geodude, you level him up, he gets Rock Throw. You level him up more, he gets Magnitude. And I've not encountered somebody yet who can withstand one of the three, whether it be a basic tackle, whether it be a rock throw. There's guys that I think, maybe they're going to be weak to rock. I hit them with a rock throw, and it even says it wasn't very effective. And then all their health goes away and they die because the rock throw is just that damn good. Then there was one that was like rock throw. I kept missing, but then I did magnitude, and I got a magnitude of 10, and they died too. So right now I'm a Geodude stan. Now I understand they probably won't let Geodude be your ride or die guy all the way to the end. But man, Geodude is a homeboy, and I'm loving him. Now you just said oh no. I want to know why you said oh no about Geodude before I invest too much of my pleasure in this game into Geodude.
So first of all, I love this. Like seriously, this is the best podcast we could. I am thoroughly enjoying myself because I've forgotten what it was like to play it for the first time, not know the stuff that I know now. You are playing the game the way it's intended. You are exploring, you are experimenting, you are catching Pokemon, you I don't know if you're having fun, but you're quote unquote having fun with the game, right? I knew what I wanted. I've caught two Pokemon the whole time. Actually, I think three because one of them is my HM slave. I know what I want, and I know one Geodude. If you at some point Geodude is not going to be
And
useful.
I'll admit, I Googled a bit because I wanted to know like what happened because I have the
That's fine.
Everstone.
Okay, good.
I had the Everstone, and so I'm thinking like they gave me the Everstone and this is like this will prevent the guy from leveling up, and then I'm thinking like, oh, so it might be that I don't want somebody to level up, and so I was looking around like, what is there a reason I wouldn't want Geodude to level up? My thought is he turns into Gravelon, something like that.
Graveler. Yeah.
Does he do anything different than Geodude?
So the differences here are twofold. One, you might, just for the sake of it, you may really like Geodude and want to keep him. And so you give him an Everstone. Because at some point, I forgot, I think it's maybe level 22, he will evolve. And every level, it's going to try to evolve him. Now, if
Yeah.
you hit B when he tries to evolve, it will be like, oh, but he didn't evolve. And so, if you want to keep him as Geodude, rather than having to hit B when he evolves all the time, give him the Everstone. The other point is if you keep them, the lower level guys learn moves faster. So, for example, there is an attack for a water Pokemon called Hydro Pump. It's the strongest water move, it's devastating. But you have to be pretty high level to learn it. So if you keep, let's just say, a Squirtle, he may learn Hydro Pump at 41. But if you evolve him into a Blastoise, Blastoise doesn't learn it until 60. So they all work that way.
Is
So
there a benefit? Is there a benefit to evolution?
yeah, they get significantly stronger. So
And
you're
what like all of their stats go up at the moment they evolve?
correct.
So a level 99 Graveler is more powerful than a level 99 Geodude.
Significantly, yes.
So it's in my interest, assuming I don't care about move sets, because I'm happy with Rock Throw and Magnitude right now. It's in my best interest to evolve Geodude.
True.
Okay.
And
Now,
that's where some of it, and one of the things I question is, which was the reason I like Pokemon, is I almost think this is the only game I've played where honestly playing it again, repeatedly playing it is more fun than playing it the first time. So I caught a Poliwag at some point, and I intentionally held back because there was a move I really wanted to know because it's a good move. And if I had let him evolve, I would have had to level that guy up like 9 levels before I got the move. But I want the move like now. But you wouldn't know that. But by
Yeah.
replaying it, you learn that stuff. And then there's the strategy that goes into it. The other thing with evolutions too, some of them change the type that the Pokemon are. So,
Oh, yeah. I did see something like if you get a Geodude if he evolves in a certain area, he becomes not only rock, but rock and lightning. Um,
what? Dude, that's
it,
not. I don't
it
know
might be a
what
different,
you're. That's not right.
might be a different game of Pokemon. Um,
Could be because that's not right. I've never heard.
Nevertheless, I'm not paying too much attention to type because I know there's like a million of them out there, and it's like I
Well,
can't.
I mean, that's some of the strategy.
There's a bit of rock paper scissors to it, right? Like if it's a leaf guy, I'm going to throw my bush fire at it, and if it's not a leaf guy, then I'm going to Geodude him until he dies. Um,
But you also
Here's a
gotta
question.
like. So quick. One other thing of Geodude I wanted to mention why I was like, oh, and I'll just tell you, he is one of the very unfortunate guys where it's final evolution, you have to trade to get him.
That's what I saw that, which is BS.
That again, back in the day, it made it fun and there was a definite purpose to it, and it was actually a cool mechanic. But nowadays, it's crippling because it's
Yeah,
like you
I
can't
can't
trade with
trade.
anybody. Yeah.
So my thing about that is like I'm using Geodude as like my method of leveling up everybody else. So
Hmm.
I have somebody else up front, and then I swap out to Geodude, and Geodude kills them. Then everybody gets some points. Because Geodude's basically my like traveling through the world Pokemon. He's gonna knock most people out with his big, strong, beautiful arms and his rock throw. Um, so yeah, that's why I'm leaning on Geodude. I know I'm gonna run into a wall at some point, but he's also the best looking Pokemon right now, I think.
Hmm. The yeah, I so ultimately you want to create a team that is almost like invincible in that and again for you it's going to be extremely difficult not knowing what's coming up. Like after you've replayed it, I know what the final four is, so I know one of them has ghost Pokemon, so I better be loaded up with people that can actually attack ghosts. I know one of them is dark, they have dark Pokemon. Well, what kills ice Pokemon? Okay, what kills dragon Pokemon's another big one, in that dragon Pokemon suck. They're really strong. They have a few weaknesses, but if you don't go in that fight with weaknesses, you either got to out level them or, I mean, you're screwed, I think. Um,
So okay, Adam, you're getting into things that give me trepidation. Um, let's go into more through what you want to talk through. I guess the game. So we talked about Faulkner. Um, or we briefly mentioned Faulkner. So it seems like the pace of the game is that you travel from gym to gym, beating
mhm.
each gym. Right now, but as somebody who's never played Pokemon before, I didn't know what the gym was, and I equivocated it to being like a dungeon in any other normal RPG. Turns out it's not a dungeon, right? It's just a room that has 3 people, 4 people that you have to fight. And if you lose one of the fights, no big deal. You don't have to do all the ones before it. You just start at the Pokemon Center and come back and then just fight them again with fully healed Pokemon. Um,
You lose
I'll
money,
admit,
but that's it.
but
Yeah.
it costs money. I
Yeah.
mean, if I have no money, what happens?
Nothing.
Right. So like money doesn't mean too much to me at this point. Um, so I was a bit underwhelmed by the whole gym mechanic. I thought there'd be something bigger going on, but it turns out it's just like a zigzag shape that you walk through, and you fight a guy, then you fight the next guy, then you fight the last guy, and you don't even have to do it all at once. I can fight the first guy, go back to the Poke Center, heal, then fight the second guy, go back to the Poke Center, heal, then fight the third guy, which to me was I'm glad I could do that because I wasn't ready to fight all 3 in a a full row, but it's like it made it it kind of reduced how much you had to think about things. It's like if I could beat one of these guys, I could probably beat all of them. I didn't have to worry
Well,
about it too much.
so
Does that change?
I think it does. One, remember, you are playing a child's game, right? So the
Right,
beginning
right, right, right.
is intentionally pretty hand-holdy and very simple. The puzzles in the gyms get a bit more complex. Not in the early games, it's not too bad. But the strategy of the gym leaders does become start to prepare you for like the Elite Four, for actually thinking about who do you want to be part of your team. So for example, like the third gym, there they have normal Pokemon, which you're like, great, I have Geodude. Every normal attack is not very effective. Geodude's gonna wreck them. But then their last Pokemon has a ground move that will probably kill your Geodude in one move. So it's like you can't solely rely. They're slowly teaching you
Oh
you
yeah, I mean,
rely on one dude,
Bean
you know.
Bean Sprout or Bell Sprout or whatever, he already does that, right? The Vine
Yeah.
Whip, I've experimented enough. The Vine Whip from Bell Sprout kills Geodude in one hit. I don't get it because it seems like the same kind of move as everybody else, but it kills Geodude in one hit. So I
But
just
that's
know,
grass. So it's super effective.
yeah, it just seems kind of dumb to me. Like it doesn't make logical sense that like, oh, this thing like a whip is a physical thing, but somehow that does extra damage to this like rock.
You got to think more of it like it's a grass move.
I
Like
mean, I get that
you're thinking
I
too much about the name of the move.
no, I get technically why that makes sense, right? Like oh, that's a grass move, but it's like in real practice, it's like it's not really a grass move, it's a whip. And that confused me at first, and then annoyed me, and then I just accepted it and moved on with my life. And so I'm already, I mean, like you said, it's a kids game. The strategy's not that deep. I did see like people talking about like, oh, the strategy's like super deep in this game if you get really into it. It's like it's not that deep because it's like rock paper scissors, right? It's like a little ecosystem of like, oh, fire can burn grass, and then grass is better than water, and water puts out fire, and then you're kind of done, right? And now they added like another ecosystem of like ghost and magic and dragon or something like that, and it's like
Yep.
it's and so the idea is that you need to make an ensemble of Pokemon that's ready to handle any situation, or build out an ensemble that's really maximizing one situation such that you overpower all of the situations, even if you're at like a weakness. Um, so I I encountered this. Did you ever play Mega Man Battle Network?
No.
It's basically Pokemon, but Mega Man based. And this is what I played on Game Boy Advance, and everybody else was playing Pokemon. And I didn't really put much thought into like what, Mega Man chips I had until one day I read online that was like, oh, I have a fire based chipset. And I was like, oh, that's what people are doing. So Pokemon's probably similar. Like I have a fire based Pokemon group. And all these different fire types, but some are defensive and some are offensive and stuff like that. So I'll probably play that way. Nevertheless, I got through Faulkner without an issue. And before we started the podcast, I got through the second gym with the bug person without an issue. I destroyed them teetotally. Even though they warned me, fire is going to kill bugs, no problem. And I have a good, strong fire Pokemon with Bushfire. Geodude wrecked their shop inside out. Um,
You're a Geodude, man.
I'm a Geodude, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the strategy, unfortunately, you aren't far enough. Now, I'm not saying it's a strategy gem for the ages, but you're not far enough in, which is a bummer, to see the strategy yet. So there are too many. You have six Pokemon, right? There's
Yeah.
too many types, right? So you can't have a team that combat everything. There's no way. So the strategy is who do you want to employ? Like what helps maximize? There's a strategy in, for example, there are some Pokemon, like the reason I chose Poliwag is that he can learn fighting, psychic, and water moves. So although, like thunder or lightning is weak against him, if he knows a fighting move and I attack first, I can maybe kill him before he kills me.
But
The
see, here's the thing. You knew that beforehand, like going in, right? Because you played it
That's true.
before. Does that not is that not annoying to you, like as a potentially first time player, that like oh shit, the only way I can get through this game is if I rewind time and go through and pick up this Pokemon and evolve it to level 60 and give it this like triplicate move set. Like it disappoints me that your ability to succeed is incumbent on prior knowledge.
So
And
the thing is like I don't think it does. It's just gonna come slower to you. Like there's enough give that you could probably have two Pokemon that are kind of duds, to be honest. But you need to have four good ones.
for
Like
studs,
yeah, you need to have a Gyarados, and what soon will be your Bush Lava will become a Typhlosion, and you need a couple other like big boys. And then you can have a couple that are like meh. But you can't go in there with a Geodude, a Typhlosion, a Hoppip, and a Pidgey and expect to win. But you're not going to want to do that anyhow, right? Like you want the cool people and you're exploring. Like I'm not too worried, but that's why it's almost more enjoyable on a second playthrough because
so
I'm motivated. I'm using Pokemon I've never used before. I've never used Togepi because I'm like he sucks. And now I'm like I want to know what that sprite looks like. I want to know what moves he can learn. I want to know how can I strategize with him to make him be able to beat a dragon Pokemon. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But that makes a replay more fun. I see your point though. But then
I think
like
what
Helldivers, right? You played a lot of Helldivers. When I went in, like you're significantly better than me, and part of that reason is because you played it. You got the experience, and it's kind of the same thing here, I feel like.
but the difference is in like Helldivers, I could go in with the exact same loadout as you and then succeed wildly because of my experience and my ability developed through experience. Whereas, um, like we can't start from the same point in Pokemon without me having to play through the entire game once or twice or thrice before understanding all these things, unless I do like copious amounts of research external to the game, which is then like extra stuff outside the game, which is a bit annoying to me because it's
Mhm.
like my ideal balance of the game would be like, you know what? Like it might be harder or easier, but that harder or easier should be like a 10 or 20% difference. Whereas it sounds like I might be teetotally skill checked or totally blocked from proceeding in the game if I didn't think to proceed with a very specific Pokemon for a very specific case that requires XYZ to get leveled up. And so what scares me is that I'm going to get X amount of hours into Pokemon. I'm going to be fighting a gym leader and I'm going to find out, oh, son of a bitch, I should have grabbed a Pidgey and leveled him up for 20 hours to get past this. And at that point, I'm not going to be like, well, let's grab a Pidgey and level him up for 20 hours. At that point, I'm going to say, well, this sucks. This is the stupidest thing I've done. And so I'm, pardon my French, but it's just like, I don't want to have to like I don't want to deal with that, right? Because it's
Sure, sure. So
all things,
I don't think that will be the case. When I build like one, I'm only using Pokemon I've never used before, right?
Mhm.
So there is that buffer. There's not like one formula you have to follow.
Okay,
There's
okay.
definitely not. However, I think when I think about it, I want to make with my experience, I want to make a team that's essentially an invincible.
Right,
And
right.
for that, you need specific moves, but that you don't have to make an invincible team to beat the game. So maybe I'm harping a little bit or making it sound too specific for for you to win. Like that's not the case.
Gotcha.
Again,
Okay,
remember
okay.
it's a kids game, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's a
they're
kid.
not
It's a
gonna, you know.
it gives me a bit of like I recognize like, oh, if you're fighting a bunch of like grass Pokemon, like you probably need to have like a fire Pokemon. You need to respect
Mhm.
the strategy to some degree in order to succeed. My concern is that like I'm gonna get to fighting a bunch of grass Pokemon, or I'm gonna get to fighting a bunch of ghost Pokemon, and the game didn't motivate me to level up something that was anti-ghost, and now I'm stuck in a situation where it's like the only way to go forward is to spend a stupid amount of time leveling up something that you were really never motivated to level up to begin with. And that is like a false extension of the game's length. And it's just like they obviously didn't care to balance or motivate or notify you or signpost that like, hey, maybe this is a good thing for you to do. I'm not saying it's happened, but that's my concern with all of the different types they have in Pokemon. Um, that
Yeah, I mean,
and I'll admit, like it's grinding in this game pretty cumbersome. It takes a long time to get through a battle, even when you're guaranteed to win, right? Like I have a Geodude that can one shot most enemies, and that's a good 2 minutes of my life every battle, even if it's a guaranteed one shot, right? Maybe 1 minute, right? I'm
yeah, yeah,
exaggerating a bit,
sure.
but it's like I have to hit the A button about like 10 times to get through that battle, and it's just man, I want like an auto battle. Like I know I'm gonna win, you know I'm gonna win, everybody knows I'm gonna win. Just give me the points so I can grind through this. And I don't want to have to suffer through that with a Pokemon that for no other reason I didn't want to level up, and now it's telling me, oh, you should have thought ahead and done this. There's no reason for me to think ahead and do that.
Yeah, I think one thing that will help on that is not fighting wild Pokemon to level up. You should be fighting them to see, hey, what's out there and do I want to catch it?
But
Not
the point, but once you've fought, once you've gone through the gyms, you can't go through the gym again. I can't fight those guys again, and so really, the only way you can grind and level up is to fight wild Pokemon, right?
but
Like
there's tons of trainers.
no, but let's say I go because you encounter the trainers as you're walking through the environment, but I don't know what I need to be leveling up as I'm walking through that trainer field, right?
Hmm.
Like I walk past all these trainers, and some of them automatically fight you, and then say I walk through all those trainers and I get to a gym and it's a bunch of lightning Pokemon that I did not prepare myself for, and now the only way I can get myself ready to fight all these lightning Pokemon, well, I can't go back and fight the trainers because I already beat them. I could talk to freaking youngster Joey who keeps calling me, but to
Yeah.
fight him, I have to walk back to like Cherry Town, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Right? Is there fast travel in this game, or did I miss it, or
You
what?
can fly at some point in the game. Yeah.
Okay, well, like that's really annoying. He keeps calling my ass, and I'm like, I would love to beat your ass down. You got Rattata. He's not doing anything. Geodude's gonna eat his lunch. Geodude's gonna eat him for lunch. But I do not care to walk all the way back just to show you that you've been doing nothing all day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I mean, admittedly, there is some to that. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, it's an RPG. I don't know. Like,
It's that you're not wrong. It's an RPG, right? I think my concern is that like I need some signposting. Like I my biggest concern with RPGs is like time respect, right? I want my time to be respected. And even Persona 4, I think it's an amazing RPG. I stopped playing it at some point after like 80 hours because it was just like, oh, right, you're not respecting my time anymore. You want me to just grind. And I
yeah.
can't do that. I can't afford to do that. And so that's my concern moving forward with Pokemon at this point is like, am I going to run into a wall where it's like, ah, oh, you stupid idiot. You should have known what was coming before we told you what was coming. Um,
Yeah.
and
I
the stuff
mean,
you say makes me think it's going to happen, but then the other stuff you say makes you think it's not that big of a deal.
yeah, I mean, I think the game does a good job at slowly introducing you to what could come or to help you prepare. For example, I don't know, I think the last time you fought your rival, did he have a Ghastly?
No.
Okay. Next time you fight him, he's going to have a Ghastly. It's a ghost Pokemon. It's the first time you're going to see a ghost Pokemon.
Okay, that's good. That's
He's
good.
he sucks, right? The way he has him now sucks.
Yeah.
So the Ghastly isn't going to kill you, but you're going to find out, oh, I don't think Geodude's attacks will work on him.
Right.
Normal
And they
won't work. But
well, Geodude has a rock attack, which might work. But they did tell me at one point, like, hey, there's a lot of ghost Pokemon over there. Normal attacks won't work on them. And so it's
yeah,
kind of prepared me a bit. And I have some moves that are
and
non-normal.
then you go along, you'll find a Magnemite in the grass, and you'll find out, oh, Magnemite, Steel, and Lightning. Well, Steel is like rock, so normal attacks, grass attacks, water attacks are going to do nothing, but your fire is going to chew them up. And so then you're kind of learning and prepping to go on. I mean, the grinding, especially not knowing what you want yet, there's probably going to be some grinding. I think, if you move forward, what I would recommend is just to respect your time. I would probably cheat a little bit. Look at what the final four is and use that to help prepare. So you don't train Hoppip all the way up and then realize, okay, he's actually not that useful. Because also, you're going to run into Pokemon later in the game that you're going to be like, that looks cool. That's Geodude 2.0. But you already have six Pokemon. So then, like, what do you do? If you can predetermine who you want, then, you save time in training and then you better prepare yourself for the end. I would probably recommend that. Uh, let me look. What else? Next segment, we'll do the little bean quiz. Uh, quick things. I like how the rival is actually a rival and it's like an actual bad person. Most Pokemon games, it's just like a dude. Like he's not bad, he's not evil, he's just like a dude. And he's like, "Oh, let's encourage each other but challenge each other too."
Oh yeah, I
But
don't like that. I like that the
it-
rival's kind of an a-hole.
exactly. He's a douchebag. It's obvious he's only using Pokemon for the power. He treats you like a douche. He stole his first Pokemon.
The thing is he stole Togepi, who was the one I actually wanted.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So that you should hate him even more. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
He's an
Um,
a-hole.
yeah.
And I gave him a name representative of how bad he is.
Yeah, you have to tell me afterward what it was. So then right now, what Pokemon do you have? I have Quilava and Togepi. Those are after 6 hours, those are my two Pokemon.
Quilava, what's the level up of Quilava? Is Quilava evolution of the first fire Pokemon you get?
Yep. Yep.
I don't know the name is Bushfire. I don't like Quilava. Quilava looks like a long, fiery penis. Please tell me Quilava gets better. I have Quilava. I have Hoppip. I have a Metapod right now, which I think turns into a butterfly, which sucks a bit, but it's
Yeah.
whatever. I'll evolve it. I have Magikarp because I know he's going to be Gyarados if I keep messing with him.
Yep.
I have Ecans. I'm kind of tired of him. I'm going to move him out. Geodude. Geodude's my man. I'm gonna keep Geodude. I think I might put an Everstone on Geodude because I've seen what Graveler looks like and he kind of sucks. So I might just have Geodude around just for
But
like.
he's stronger.
I don't care. I have Geodude around for sentimentality until I run into Hitmonlee if I can. Here's a question: can I get Squirtle in this game?
After the second part of the game, you can get Squirtle.
The Kanto region? I'm not gonna play the Kanto region.
Okay,
Um,
then you're not gonna get Squirtle.
okay,
Yeah.
well then Geodude's my guy. Um, And then I have shoot, I have all six filled up. I have Togepi, the star, the charm guy, because they gave it to me, so I feel like I have
Yeah,
to
yeah.
use it because it's a special egg. Um, and then shoot, what else do I have? I have six. I didn't say six, did I?
I don't think you're missing one, but we gotta go to the next segment anyhow.
Yeah.
Alex is gonna think of his six Pokemon. We're gonna come back, finish up Pokemon Crystal.
All right, gaming is in session. Pokemon Crystal Edition, segment three. We didn't expect a segment three, but here we are, people.
I will say, Alex, I don't know if you want to keep playing or not. Don't really care. I have thoroughly enjoyed this.
I w I've enjoyed it too. I like talking to you about this, and if anything, it's exciting for me to see you get this excited about a game in general. I don't know of any other game we've played where you've gotten this excited about. I mean, shoot, you've got the T-shirt for it, Adam. You get the T-shirt, you got the poster, you got the framed Pokemon cards. Like this is your wheelhouse, baby.
I mean, like, I was pretty pumped about Evo. I liked Astrobot. I, I This, I think, has a bit more fun strategy to it. And just, I'm almost reliving it by you playing it for the first time. I think that's what I enjoy. Other
I
games, we're both going in fresh. So it's a different dynamic. So I think that's what I've liked. But we we haven't had beans and we need to have beans, and the only way to do that is to test your ability. I'm going to ask you 5 questions, Alex. They're Pokemon questions you should know by playing this game, and if you get 3 of them right, I eat a bean. You don't, you eat a bean. This very first one is an utter shame. I thought it was actually a pretty good question. Turns out it's not a good question. What can I share? Can I share? I think I can share. First question, what Pokemon is this?
Geodude, baby, the greatest
That's
Pokemon of all time.
such crap. I was like, surely you went into a cave, but I didn't expect you to catch him. So I was thinking like maybe you saw him once or twice, and then I was like, maybe he won't know it. Turns out, yeah, he's your freaking whole
Yeah,
ace in the hole. So right off the bat, you friggin' nailed it.
and I named him Geo Metro after my dad's car when I was younger, the Geo Metro XFI. Yeah. All right. Next question.
Okay, dude, that's funny because my dad drove a probe when I was a kid. I need to find a Pokemon that's like a thing to stick up a butthole, and that's my probe.
That's one of the unknowns or unknowns or whatever.
Unknowns. Yeah, and
Yeah.
the I unknown because he's just a line. I got probed
Yeah.
by an unknown. Okay, this one's probably the most difficult question of them all. Mm, no, I don't think you can get this. Are you a boy or a girl in the game?
I'm a boy.
What color is he?
Red.
Whoa! All right. Oh, I'm screwed. F me. I'm gonna eat a bean. Mother.
I want to shout out real quick. I mean, I've talked about it before, and I just sent you a screenshot, Adam. I've been playing this game on the Analog Pocket, which those who don't know, this is a special thing. And it plays like ROMs and it plays, the actual cartridges too. The game looks beautiful. I mean, it's a Game Boy Color game. It looks beautiful on the Analog
It's
Pocket.
good. I mean, it's
And
good. Wait, do you
yeah,
think it looks good because of the analog pocket or because the sprites and the artwork are good?
I think it's a bit of both. There is like some upscaling and there's like some special color stuff going on with the screen and things like that. Like there's special stuff being done with the analog pocket. I don't know exactly. Um, but I just wanted to highlight that like this is the way to play Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance games. It looks incredible. And I've really enjoyed the way the game has looked overall. And I know it wouldn't look this good on a standard Game Boy Color without a light back and stuff like that. It's great. Yeah.
You play on a Game Boy Advance, it still looks pretty good. I'm playing it on Steam Deck, looks good.
I think on a Game Boy Advance SP, it would probably look really good. It's the whole thing is the backlighting, right? Like people playing this back in the day, you don't have backlights on Game Boy
Oh
Colors.
yeah,
Like you got to be like holding it like at the right angle against the sun to be able to see things. But
yeah.
I just it's one of the reasons I'm happy to play this game is it has validated my purchase of the analog pocket. I think it's really kept the form factor of what the original Game Boy Color was while still providing like a modern screen for it. It's been
And
nice.
that's the real Pokemon experience, a hand,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, I see that. Okay, cool. Moving on. This one, I don't think it's gonna matter, so I'm still gonna. Oh, F me.
If I get one more right, you got to eat a bean.
Yeah, but I still think you're gonna win, but I don't know if you're far enough on these. Okay. What is Ditto's main um
Power?
yeah,
He copies other powers.
okay.
Yeah, I
Perfect.
knew
What
that.
color?
I saw like half an episode of the Pokemon anime and I learned
That's
that.
bullcrap. What color is he?
He's pink.
Okay. Yeah, you won. Okay. What is the type of the Pokemon Espeon?
Electric? Lightning?
You should have fought him. He's psychic.
I kicked his ass if I did fight him. I got Geodude, baby. He's like level 90 or something.
Yeah, probably, but do you remember fighting him? He was in the fighting dojo by the second. Oh wait, no. Are you
No,
not
I
that
haven't fought him
far?
yet. I haven't fought him yet. I just finished the second gym before we started.
So you haven't fought the kimono girls.
No.
Okay.
I fought the twins, but that's not the Kimono Girls, no.
Twins. Okay, so that one doesn't matter. Okay, well, I mean, who gave you your first Pokemon?
Professor Elm,
I hate you.
which is named after a tree, just like oak. Confused me for a bit, but yeah, Professor Elm,
Yeah, every professor in all of the games are named
a
after
tree.
trees. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Eat that bean. Wait, what's the fifth question? Give me the fifth question.
The other one was what are the names of the first three Pokemon, which you would have gotten cooked.
Togepi, Quilava, also known as no, not Quilava. No, Cinna. I would have gotten cooked Cinequil or something like that.
Yeah,
And then
that's one.
and then it wasn't Hoppip, was it? No, it wasn't Hoppip. I'm gonna say Hoppip though.
Like the first three Pokemon you could have chose, those are
Yeah,
the
I
ones you
know.
wanted.
Yeah. It's
No,
like
it was Chikorita, Totodile, and
yeah,
oh,
yeah, I got cooked. Yeah.
so dead serious. It was perfectly in between dead fish and booger. What
What
do
you
I
have to
do?
do, you have to spin again. Because dead fish is way worse than booger.
You
Booger.
screwed yourself. Tutti frutti or stinky socks.
I thought it landed on a booger. Okay. Tutti frutti. I mean, sticky socks can be bad at the right time.
Yeah.
Yeah, how is it?
It's stinky. I went in it. It's the thing is like that was not like it's not pleasant, but it's not
And you're
compared
not
to
gonna
dead
puke.
fish.
It's yeah, dead fish ruins the rest of the day. Yeah.
Yeah, it really does. Okay, there we go. Not too bad. A good start. Dude, 2025 is coming up all Adam. New gym girl, good beans. You're playing Pokemon. Literally, this is the year of Adam. Oh my gosh, I love it. Alex, let's jump into it. I'll let you answer first. What do you like and what don't you like?
Okay, yeah, I had to make a list so I didn't forget. Let's just start with what I like, then I want to hear what you like about Pokemon specifically. Um, Surprisingly good art and variety in this game. I mean, there's a huge amount of Pokemon in the game, and they all have their own sprites. And that's impressive for Game Boy Color era. And like I said, playing on the Analog Pocket, the colors really pop. And that's not just for the Analog Pocket. That's designed from the Pokemon team. It looks generations ahead of what Game Boy Color games were doing at the time. So I really appreciate that. Um, some of the music is really an afterthought, right? I mean, there's songs I hear that's like I've heard that from Pokemon before, and then I just got to an area that's like, man, that rivals some of the best like video game music I've heard, which was a surprise to me. So I'm enjoying some of that. Um, I want to lean back a bit to the good art and variety. There are some Pokemon sprites, like Geodude, for example. It, for some reason, sets me off of like, that's my guy. Like, I want to use Geodude because I like the way he looks. That is my guy.
That's the
And
beauty. But how do you know Graveler doesn't look just as cool?
because I looked him up. I
Oh, you
want,
looked at the
no,
sprite of him
yeah,
up?
I liked Geodude so much that I looked up the next evolution and be like, does he look like an ass? And he does, and I don't want him. And so now I have to evaluate like, do I want to evolve? Because then I'm going to be staring at that stupid looking Pokemon when I could have like this awesome ass looking Geodude. It's a tough call. And then this is, you say it's a kid's game, right? It is a kid's game. Um, but in effect that it's a kid's game, it is a my first RPG. This game was designed around kids playing video games on their Game Boy Color. Kids might be getting only one game a year. They get Pokemon, and it's their first exposure to an RPG, which has a pretty rich history and a pretty deep genre of video games. And I think from what I've seen so far in the 6 hours, that it's a very skillfully done and designed my first RPG video game. I think it's a bit understated from what I've known about Pokemon and what I've heard about Pokemon. Um, in that, like, this is an excellent introduction into the value that turn-based combat can present in a video game. Because when I was growing up, right, like I never played Final Fantasy VII because I was like, well, that's so stupid. You get to sit there and pick your move and do your move, then they get to pick their move and do their move, and I was like, that's so dumb. Give me back to GoldenEye where everything's happening in real time. Give me back to Zelda where everything's happening in real time. This is a great introduction. Like I could give it to my daughter. She could play through Pokemon, enjoy the characters and the Pokemon and the sprites and stuff, and then walk away knowing how to manage an RPG moving forward, which sounds really silly, but it's a really clever introduction into a genre that normally doesn't have a good introduction. Outside of this, your introduction to RPGs is Dragon Quest, which if you don't know why there's an actual depth to Dragon Quest or Final Fantasy, it bounces off of you like it did me when I was younger. So I think that's quite an accomplishment in general, to be able to introduce an element of a genre that's pretty obtuse and pretty inaccessible and present it as a game that's really fun to play. So those are the big things that I really like about it. How about you, Adam? Why do you like Pokemon so much?
I think, as I mentioned earlier, each I don't know why, but it adds so much replayability in that I want to use all these different Pokemon. I'm only going to use ones that I've never used before. I've never used Togepi or Togepick, Tick, I think it's Tick. And the strategy of how to best utilize them, a piece of strategy you haven't gotten to yet is at some point you're going to fill up all four slots in your move set, and then you have to decide what moves should I keep, which one should I go. You should not be using Growl. That should be like the first thing you should eliminate. Same thing for Charm, in my opinion, the way I play. But you can either you can add status ailments to your enemies that do damage, like toxic, or you could put them to sleep, or you can paralyze them to put them in a disadvantage, or you can, like myself, overwhelm and make them succumb to you by your power and your will. And that, using as a repeated player, using Togetic, who isn't like uber strong, but I've got to think what move set can I give him to make him accommodate the fact that he's not the strongest Pokemon. It just, there's enough strategy that it's intriguing and it's fun, but it's not so much where you're playing Final Fantasy, tactics and you're getting destroyed because it's so difficult and you really have to bend your mind. So it hits that sweet spot for me. Of course, the nostalgia plays into it. So regardless of if we continue to play this, I'm going to finish it. And I just got done playing Moemon. And I enjoyed that. Not as much as Crystal, but I like that. It's a very good sit down and play game. You can watch TV and play it. You can watch football. You can also give undivided time. You can play it for 30 minutes and let it go. It's a good pick up and play, fun, doesn't ask too much of you. Good game. That's why I like it. You can't like everything though. So what don't you like?
Um, all right. I mean, I kind of alluded to it a bit. The grinding, like the grinding through the grass, is very cumbersome. Just the basic combat when I'm in the mode of just having to grind is pretty cumbersome. Now I went into the options. I turned off animations to try to make combat as fast as possible, which
Oh,
is a double-edged sword because like right now at that point I got rock throw. I don't know what the animation for rock throw looks like. I don't know what the animation for magnitude looks like. And I know those animations can be pretty enjoyable because like Unown, Unknown's animation for the hidden power is like it's a pretty cool animation. It's like spinny balls and one of them hits and stuff like that. Like that's cool. Um, but to maximize my time, to be as efficient as possible, I have to turn those off. And it disappoints me, but it's more or less required unless I have nothing else going on in my life. And
does Analog Pocket have like a fast forward, like speed up thing?
if it does, I'm not using it because that's outside of the game design. So I don't feel like it's fair to
Oh,
do that,
okay.
right? I mean, I don't know an easy way to do that, but it just like nevertheless, I'm finding myself having to hit like There were times when we got a new puppy for Christmas. I take the puppy outside in the backyard to get her to poop and pee and play with her and stuff. And I'm literally walking around the backyard with my dog with the analog pocket in my hand, hammering the A button, not looking at the screen because I know it's going to take me a minute to get to the point I need to get to. And then I check in and okay, fight the next guy, hit A bunch of times. So that the grinding is pretty cumbersome. Now, what you told me is that I focus on grinding in the gym, which makes sense. I didn't pick up on it. That makes sense. So that might alleviate some of my concerns. Other issues, and this is an artifact of the times, right? The four direction grid based movement, right? I've in modern gaming, I want to be able to move in eight directions, right? I want to move diagonally. I don't want to be restricted to like here's a slot you can land in, here's a slot you can land in here. So moving around the map is just kind of annoying, but that's just the way games were back then. So I can't hold it against it too much, but in a modern era looking back, this is kind of annoying. Um, the requirement, and it's not really on taking the back seat, the requirement of trading and interaction with others. Now, this is something that a lot of excellent, prominent games require. Now in Japan, I don't know if you know, Adam, like kids will get on the subway or get on the train themselves by this. They walk to the train, they get on the train, they ride. They will commute to school for a significant amount of time. And kids playing Pokemon, that's a great time for them to trade and play games and stuff. This is prominent in games like Monster Hunter for the PSP, which didn't flop in America, but didn't do great. But in Japan, it was like a cultural revolution because everybody had a PSP and everybody had a time where they could trade and co-op and stuff like that. That time doesn't exist for me. So there's a whole it seems like a significant portion of the game baked into the design of the game is inaccessible to me because there's nobody else in my environment that is playing Pokemon that I can trade with to really maximize the quality of the game. They talk so much about battling other people is really where the game is fun. Battling your friends is where the game is fun. Trading with your friends is where the game is fun. I can't do it. I just can't do it, right? Unless I think of some hacked way of doing it through a ROM and share a ROM with you and you do something and I share it back to me. Like that is just turned off for me. Not a problem with the game necessarily, but for my experience of the game, it's really difficult for me to enjoy and capitalize on, right? Like you said yourself, I can't evolve Geodude to the top without trading, and that sucks. Another thing is that another thing where it's like it's kind of good, like kind of good, kind of bad. This game is very incumbent on community now. Because I can't trade with people, I have to engage with an online community to figure out what's happening in Pokemon, what I should be doing, what the best thing to do is, where the real enjoyment lies. And it feels unfair, but again, it's because it's a product of its time. So because I can't trade with kids in the cafeteria, I have to go online and figure out what the best thing to do is, which feels a bit annoying that like I got to stop playing the game to look at things on the internet and then come back and play the game and then interact and play that way. This isn't inherently bad, right? Some of my favorite games are the Souls like Dark Souls, Demon Souls, and that game can be so obtuse that the only way you can proceed is by looking on some website to figure out what this actually means. I don't like it then. I don't like it in Pokemon, but that's just the way it is. So I don't hold it against Pokemon too much. I think my biggest stink with the game is the overall time sink. I mean, you say it's a kid's game, and it is a kid's game because of the simplicity. And I laud it for being a great introduction to RPGs. But I'm not a kid, and I'm introduced to RPGs. I know how RPGs work. And so I don't need the introduction to that. And I even got to the point where I looked on the internet of like, why do people like Pokemon? And 7 or 8 out of 10 of the answers were like, because I liked it as a kid and I want to go back to it. And you yourself kind of admit like nostalgia is a big factor here. I like it because I played it as a kid, and now I'm revisiting it with through an adult lens, but I still have all the knowledge when I played it as a kid. Um, but I also think that it's a kid's game because kids have nothing better to do, right? They have a lot of time on their hands, and they get one game a year potentially, and that's Pokemon. You better figure out how to have fun with Pokemon. And so this game has this kind of inflated length to it where it's like, yeah, there's like 30 or 40 hours of game time where you're playing, but the true magic lies when you like play and replay the game and exhaust your Pokemon, get everybody to 99, experiment and do all this stuff, which it's really cool that the game has that flexibility and that depth to it. But as somebody coming to it where I have a backlog of other games that I could be playing, it's really hard to motivate myself to decide to like, yeah, I'm gonna play Pokemon right now. I'm gonna do all this weird stuff in Pokemon right now. The the like you said earlier, the juice sometimes doesn't feel worth the squeeze, right? Like, do I want to spend 40 hours experimenting with Pokemon evolutions and Pokemon rosters that I have when I could just like play Resident Evil 2 remake or something like that, like a modern game. So that's things I don't like about the game. Are there things you don't like about Pokemon? Things that you think they could do better, or maybe that they are doing better in newer versions of the game?
No, I think the new games suck. Hate the new games. I think the Pokemon are stupid. I think the decisions they've made are stupid. I think there's very little saving grace to the new ones.
Is
I
there
feel
things you think they
bad.
could? Are there things you think they could improve on? Like, imagine they remade Pokemon Crystal almost one for one today. Are there things you'd hope that they would have changed in a remake?
Uh, I mean, I'm gonna be honest. No.
Really?
The only thing that does aggravate me, but again, similar to you, I understand it, so I can't be mad at the game because at the time it was magical, but I do hate the fact that there are probably five Pokemon. I would love to have Golem. I would love to have Gengar. I would love to have Alakazam. They are overpowered and they are some of the strongest ones you can get, but I'll never get them because I can't trade. That, again, back in the day was awesome. I traded on the bus. It wasn't a big deal. Of course, you had your Game Boy and you walked around with your link cable. That was the way you did it, right? And you always battled your friends. And I remember battling them, and if you lost, they got to pick a Pokemon they took from your team. Like it was a
That's a
it was,
see. That's amazing, right? Like
yeah.
that's what bothers me about going back and playing Pokemon is like I I've only played 6 hours. I already understand the allure of like, guess what? I'm gonna grind the hell out of Geodude, and I'm gonna bust Brian's ass tomorrow at lunch with my Geodude, and I'm gonna steal his Eevee or whatever it is. Like I can see that, and that
Yeah.
I can't hold it against Pokemon that I'm now playing it 20 years, 30 years after everybody else played it. Because that's incredible, right? I'm a huge fan of esoteric video game technology, right? The Game Boy Link cable meant almost nothing outside of Tetris until Pokemon came along. And now you like did you have a Game Boy Color Link cable?
Of course.
That
Yeah.
is, to me, the fact that you like without question was like, yeah, I had one. Guess what? And I used it. Like that's mind blowing to me. That's like having somebody having a multi-tap for the Super Nintendo, which I had, but nobody else in the world had, right? It's like somebody having the broadband adapter for the GameCube, which literally nobody had, but I had because I wanted to play um Fantasy Star Online on my GameCube, right? Like this, there's these weird curios about video games that occurred, and they only exist in the time that the games occurred. And I greatly appreciate that, and I'm disappointed that I can't enjoy that myself. But when looking and realistically, like I can't enjoy that myself, right? I can't go back in time and live that experience. And in a similar vein, you remember when we played Symphony of the Night, or not Symphony of the Night, Shadow of the Colossus?
Sadly, yeah.
And yeah, exactly. You didn't like it, and I loved it, and I loved revisiting it, and you didn't like it. And I recently saw on Reddit somebody talking about like they played it recently and they hated it too. And it's a really difficult thing with video games where it's like this is an art form more or less that you can't enjoy outside of the time in which it was created. And even given the context, you can't enjoy it outside of the time in which it was created because there are things incumbent with technology. There are things incumbent with like sociology, what people were able to do at the time. And so part of my disappointment in Pokemon is a disappointment in myself of like, I should have engaged with this when I could have engaged with this. I had kids that I knew in high school that were playing Pokemon every day before the first period, every day at lunch. And I was like, man, what are they doing there? They're really hyped about that. And I like video games. I should be hyped about that too. But I didn't engage with it, and I regret not engaging with it. And there's nothing I can do now to relive that experience that you were able to experience when this game came out. Pokemon was a cultural phenomenon, even Pokemon Crystal was, and I have no way to really engage with that phenomenon. So I sorry to bogart your what you didn't like segment, but I like that is the big story of Pokemon for me. Is that like is it possible for a guy who didn't engage with Pokemon at its inception to come back to Pokemon after the fact and engage with it and appreciate it and enjoy it and have fun with it now? And it feels like it might be a hard no, but I still quite frankly don't know. I don't know. Give me your commentary on that, Adam. That was long winded.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. The and if the newer games like use the internet, right?
Right.
So you don't need a link cable, you don't need to know the person, you can battle them, you can trade them. So there's one thing the newer games do have, right? So I don't know, maybe some of the newer Pokemon you do have to trade as well, but it's not that big of a deal. If they did a remake, I think that have an ulterior method to get them to evolve. But I think you're right. But still, again, this could be the nostalgia talking. I still thoroughly enjoy it. I feel like I maximize Pokemon. I feel like there's enough variety. And there is nothing to say that Haunter, that Kadabra, that Graveler, they are still good Pokemon. I am certain, 100% positive, if you had Kadabra on a team, you had Kadabra and you had Haunter and you had what's the other one? Graveler, and you had where are a couple other ones. Say you had six team members that you could never get their final evolution. I am certain you could beat the game with that. So it's not that they're bad. It's just like knowing Gengar's dope. Who doesn't want a Gengar, right? And yeah, I don't know if you did you look at Golem? I know you looked at
Yeah, yeah.
Graveler.
Go. You have to trade to get Golem, right?
Yeah, yeah. But he looks cool, or at least I thought he looked cool. It's big effing ball. Big old ball.
He's like a rock with like a Pokemon sticking out of it, right?
I mean, kinda, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I thought he looks cool. Like I would want that.
He looks better than Graveler. Graveler looks like Geodude ate too much food on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but he's got like 4 arms and
Yeah, I don't
legs.
want 4 arms. I like the 2 arms, man. I'm a boxing fan.
Oh,
That's yeah.
oh, the other one's Machamp. Machamp is dope too.
I ran into Machamp and I kicked his ass, but I was like, man, I wish he wasn't part of a trainer group because I was gonna steal his ass.
Yeah, yeah, he is. He's dope. Anyhow, so I feel like it's unfortunate but understandable why you feel like you're missing out, which in some way you certainly are. I mean, technically, it still works. If we played on the Game Boy Color or SP and we got a link cable, we could still trade, right? But we would just need to meet each other and actually go through the motions of doing it. But I feel like there is still enough there to enjoy the game even without that. But sometimes it is hard to overlook what could have been, right? So
Yeah.
I understand where you're coming from. Thankfully for me, maybe it's nostalgia talking, maybe it's a strategy of already knowing the game and just wanting the replayability of trying it with these other guys that I've never used before, but I still find it an enjoyable experience. But what I think doesn't matter. I played the game, I chose the game. It's all you, Alex. It is time to determine, are we going to continue playing Pokemon Crystal?
Well, I do want to say because I asked you, what could you change? Remaking the game today, what could you change? I think they need to add an auto battle mechanic, right? Like Persona has this now, or Metaphor ReFantasio has this, where like, listen, I know what I want to do with Geodude. I want to tackle until the guy's dead. Let me do that. Let me have a fast way of grinding. That's one thing. The other thing, maybe have an evolution tree that I could review and see like, hey, I kind of know that something needs to go on with Geodude to make him evolve. Like, what's he going to end up landing on, right? Like, I mean, I could do it on Wikipedia. If they remade the game, that'd be good to input into the game, right? And then just overall, making the movement through the environment a bit. Fast travel. Fast travel would be great. Maybe it comes later. That's good. Should have been there from the get go, right? I should be able to travel from gym to gym. Go to a gym, travel to another gym. That's cool. Go to a center, travel to another center. That would have made sense. But I won't hold it against it too much. So I wrote a little paragraph here. Um, for the first 5 hours of Pokemon Crystal, I hated it. It literally put me in a bad mood to play it. I was angry. I talked to my wife about how upset I was about having to play Pokemon. Um, there's so many better games from the era that Pokemon came from that I could have been playing. I'm looking at Metroid 2, Samus Returns. I'm looking at Link to the Past, or not Link to the Past, Link's Awakening on the Game Boy. I'm looking at Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel, which I am going to be adding to our gaming as a session list, that I could be playing instead of Pokemon Crystal. But Pokemon is such a pillar of the gaming industry and prominent gaming people that I really respect their opinion of. They have great evaluations of gaming. Really like Pokemon. They're Pokemon fans, such that a new one comes out, they want to play it. And I feel like I must complete at least one Pokemon game to have the best grasp, give Pokemon the best chance to understand what is going on in this game. And so, Adam, I want to admit I'm throwing a bit of grace to you. I'm throwing a bit of grace to Pokemon in general. And Adam, your enthusiasm itself in discussing Pokemon with you has genuinely turned the tide for me and motivated me to say that I do want to continue playing Pokemon. Not on the merits of the game alone,
We did it. We did it.
not on the merits of the game alone, but because I do think I need to give this a thorough investigation. I can't promise that I'm going to finish Pokemon, but I will at least play 6 more hours of Pokemon Crystal. Because in this last hour, when I got Geodude evolved up and things started to open up a little bit, I started to see a little bit more nuance to the strategy. I started to see a little bit more variety in the Pokemon. Not everybody's coming at me with Tackle, right? That sucks. It's stupid to see a fire Pokemon and their move is Tackle. And then I see a grass Pokemon and their move is Tackle. I hate that. That's dumb. Um, the nuance is starting to level up that I think there might be something there. And I'm going to be really disappointed if there is not a there, right? If I play 6 more hours and it's 6 more hours of what I had in the first 5 hours, I'm going to be pissed off and Pokemon's done. But I'll play 6 more. I'll probably play more than 6 more, and it's going to be a chore, and I expect there's going to be a chore to it. But your enthusiasm, the fact that you could rattle off 160 different Pokemon from memory tells me that there's something there that locks into your brain and makes you appreciate this on a grander scale, other than the fact that like I'm a kid and I like to draw Pokemon. I feel like I have to engage with it seriously and give it an earnest shake. So Adam, I will continue playing Pokemon, but I need a guarantee from you that we will get a Gym Girl update on the next episode of this discussion.
Oh, dude, in a week, 2 weeks,
Probably 2 weeks, yeah.
that's I
Adam,
mean, the
I
update may be lame, but I mean, I gotta find my prey first. I can't just.
I'm just letting you know, I'm making a sacrifice.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's the thing. Pokemon doesn't respect my time because Pokemon expects me to be a kid that has a lot of time on his hands.
Okay, so here's first of all, I am shocked. We're running out of time. I'm shocked that I really thought that you weren't going to play again, which I was fine with. I understand why you wouldn't want to play it. I'm shocked that you still do. Two, seriously, I know it's cheating a little bit, but to better respect your time, I would look at the Elite Four, look at the Pokemon or the types that they specialize in,
Okay, yeah.
and I would do some planning. Hey, these, and look at all the sprites. Be like, oh, I want that guy. Look at where you can catch him, because that's going to save you time from leveling up Hoppip when you don't want to use him. So that will better respect your time. Um, and I think fight the trainers. Don't fight in the grass. That's going to save you a ton of time. Um, that's it. That's why I recommend.
Okay.
I'll give
All
you a
right.
Gym Girl update. Um, yeah, I mean, more fun to come. You're set for the next two. Oh, you're set for the next fight. And regardless, well, that'll get into it. I'll text you. Any final words on Pokemon? We've just run. I can't believe we've talked almost 2 hours on freaking Pokemon Crystal.
I think my final assessment of Pokemon is like, I get it, but I don't like it now. I get it but I don't get it now, right? I don't get it in 2025. I get it in 1996 or whenever it came out.
I think that there's gonna be a moment where it clicks.
I'm putting
Because
a
it
lot of
has
stock
just
in that. I'm putting a lot of stock in that. I grant that it's an RPG, and that and almost every RPG, 6 hours is not it. But as a guy who doesn't have a lot of time on his hands, 6 hours is a lot of time to commit to a game you don't like. And then more than that is like, what am I doing with my life? So I'm going to be scheduling out the time in my life when I'm going to be playing Pokemon. Like I'm going to be taking my dog for a walk and playing Pokemon at the same time, just so I'm not wasting time on Pokemon. Whereas as a kid, it wouldn't feel like wasted time, right? So I'm hoping what you're saying is true, Adam.
no
I'm hoping what you're saying
what
is true.
gives
That's why I
me
need you to invest in a Gym Girl update for me.
what gives me hope is so many people got that click. And
Yeah,
when they
yeah.
got the click, I mean, I played a lot of games as a kid, right? And I don't collect their cards. I don't replay their games. And a ton of people are like me, right? So I think the strategy is only going to deepen, which I think you're going to like. This a lot of the stuff you've complained about, if you follow my advice, that won't be an issue. The strategy will deepen. People aren't going to be using tackle and growl anymore. You're never going to see those moves ever again. I think, I mean, it's good. Of course, admittedly, I am a little biased. The good news, or rather, I don't necessarily want to say good news, potentially good news, I don't know, is listeners, I haven't. 2025 is the year of Adam. I've got a New Year's resolution for you because I have one for me. Subscribe, like, and interact with Gaming is in Session. Contact at playpsvr.com. Gaming is in Session on YouTube. We're on iTunes. We're on iHeart. I want you to listen to it. I want your auntie to listen to it. I want your mama to listen to it. We don't want any of the male people of your
We got
family.
plenty of those, yeah.
We don't want a sausage party in here. Tell your female friends too. If you know someone who goes to the gym, Gym Girl doesn't have to be in my gym. They just have to be at a gym. So, it could be a Pokemon gym. I don't care. Help me give a Gym Girl update. It's Gym Girl 2025. Thank you for listening, folks. We'll see you on the next episode. Gotta catch them all. Whammoo!